once more on BP All Access. Let's take a trip back to 1999 on July 18th. David Cone was perfect. A moment that Yankees fans will never forget, and a moment that David Cone will never forget. That shot right there will live in Yankees history. An unbelievable moment for David Cone. An unbelievable moment as Yankees fans watched him being carried off the field. And I have David Cone here right now. David, when you watch that, does it ever get old?
Not really, no. I mean, it's just, I'm so thankful to have a moment, a signature moment like that, to where people remember. And I realize the more I get removed from that moment that it's really more bigger. It's more about the fans. It's more about the fathers and sons and mothers and daughters who were there, who have that memory, and they want to talk about what they were doing or where they were. And that makes me realize it's more about us on more than just us on the field. It's more about them and their experience.
Hey, I know people come up to you all the time. What's the coolest story you've heard about watching that perfect game from a fan?
Yeah, there's so many. There's people that tell me that they pulled off on the side of the road to hear the call on the radio, and they run some freeway locally, or whether it was the last game that a father and their son saw together, or it's a memory like that, really, that is shared. That kind of gets me every time. That's
awesome stuff. Do you get the same feelings when you watch it? Do you remember that moment in time, how you were feeling on the mound for that final pitch?
I scrutinize it a little more heavily now as a broadcaster. I look at the strike zone and go, wow, I got some pretty favorable calls there. It was a different game back then in the 90s. We pitched differently. I use the iPhone as sort of an example. My strike zone was the iPhone sideways, and nowadays it's more north and south. So certainly I look at the strike zone and go, wow, it was pretty nice to pitch back then.
Well, it counted. Hey, be honest with me. If you're ever having a bad day, do you just pull up the game on your iPhone?
No,
just watch it through? Make yourself feel better?
I don't. It's not something that, I don't know. It's not something you do that much. A lot of people don't do that, but it's always nice to have it in the back of your mind, and the memory's there.
Well, they're going to honor you. You're throwing out the first pitch today. Will the first pitch be perfect, David?
No, it will not. I'm debating on whether to go all the way up on the mound or not, so I certainly want to get it there in the air.
As far as the Subway Series is concerned, I know you've been a part of them. You've covered them as an announcer. What do you like about the Subway Series?
What I like is the fan reaction still to this day, all these years later. And I pitched in the first one back in 1997, and I remember at Yankee Stadium there was half Met fans and half Yankee fans. And whenever something happened either way, there was chanting going back and forth that we had never seen before. So the fans are not tired of this. There'll be a sellout here tonight. There was a sellout at Citi Field for those two games. And that just shows you how big this is to the city and how much it means to them. It hasn't gotten old to them after all these years.
Certainly was a huge crowd, as you mentioned, at Citi Field. Now, you look at these two teams, and I think, wow, the trade deadline is right around the corner. Which direction is each team moving? Do you have any thoughts on the deadline coming up?
I think both teams should be in it. I think the Mets are playing so much better nowadays, and when you look at their lineup top to bottom, they have league average numbers or better, 1 through 9 almost, and that's pretty impressive. It's top 5 in terms of that category in the major leagues. So if I'm the Mets and their fans and really their front office, I'm saying, you know what? We need some depth in the pitching staff. Maybe we can get some mid-rotation starters. They should be looking to add, in my mind, and certainly on the Yankee side, they're going to put their best foot forward. You got Juan Soto for 1 year at a minimum, and you want to show him what it's like to play here in postseason, play big games in Yankee Stadium during the postseason, because it's a different animal here. The fans just light up here, and Juan Soto needs to experience that before he makes his decision of what he wants to do with his career.
Speaking of Juan Soto, we had him on earlier in this show. Just watching him this season, David, I don't know that I can remember a guy coming in and fitting in so seamlessly, being as advertised. Just what stood out to you about what you've seen from Soto?
He's just a rare combination of skill sets for a hitter. When you look at what he does, he has tremendous bat speed, but also tremendous contact skills, and that's just rare. And a guy with such a great eye that also has such a high on-base percentage and can get all those walks and still retain power, still swing the bat in terms of with authority and high bat speed, but yet still have tremendous squared up rates too as well. So when you look under the hood at the metrics, there's nobody like him. He's really kind of an outlier in terms of his skill set.
He had talked a little bit about his relationship with Aaron Judge, how those guys are constantly talking throughout the course of the game. How valuable do you think that is to have those two guys be able to kind of push each other a little bit and help each other out there on the field?
Aaron Judge is such an asset in terms of being the captain and being a leader that he puts the onus on himself to kind of integrate everybody into that clubhouse, protect everybody, and kind of be the best salesman, too, for the organization and for playing for the Yankees. So the Yankees are lucky to have Aaron Judge be the leader, be the captain, and sell this team and sell this market to potential free agents like Juan Soto.
All right, David, we're running out of time, but we'll take a trip back over and talk about the Mets. Did you like the OMG postgame concert not too long ago?
I did. I think it's a great story. The Mets have always been, you know, kind of the alter ego to the Yankees, right? The Yankees, the button-down conservative organization that's all business and championships, and the Mets have always played off of that from day one. They have fun over there. Their fan base loves it. It's a great story, and he's really helped them turn it around. The whole atmosphere over there is completely different, and he's a big part of that.
I'm going to vote you most likely yes announcer to have a post-game concert. I think you could do it. Come up
Yeah,
with a
we'll
song,
see.
do
Gotta
a
have a
little
song.
concert. All right, I know you got to get up in the booth with Michael and Paulie, so we'll let you know. We're going to take a break here on BP All Access. We'll wrap things up from the Bronx when we come back as we continue to get you set for Yankees Mets tonight in the Bronx.